Okay, so we're going to do lesson 5-5 today, which is negative exponents. And we need to figure out what this negative exponent means and make sense of it. We know that 2 to the fourth, let me zoom in a little bit here. That's really hard to read, is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. And then 2 to the third is 8. 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the first is 2. Okay, what would 2 to the 0 be? Well, if we look at this pattern going down the right side, math is all about pattern. We'll say that each time that we're dividing by 2. So what would this be if I continue to divide by 2? It would be 1. 1. Okay, that seems weird. It seems like it should be 0, but it's not. The pattern is divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So it must continue. Divide by 2. And it must continue into the negative zone. What is 1 divided by 2? 1/2. What is 1/2 divided by 2? 1/4. What is 1/4 divided by 2? 1/8. 1/16. So we have a relationship that we have here that 2 to the fourth is 16, but 2 to the negative fourth is 1/16. A negative exponent creates a reciprocal. Easy to memorize short term, hard to memorize long term. Let's look at another reason why anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so get rid of that silly thing. We learned yesterday that maybe 5 to the third over 5 to the third. What we could do to shortcut that is take 5 to the 3 and subtract 3. So that would mean that this really means 5 to the 0. Okay? What is 5 to the third? Which is another way of saying 1. So the chart explains to us why anything to the 0 power is 1, and this explains to us why anything to the 0 power is 1. Continuing on that, I can look at 5 to the third over 5 to the fourth. 5 to the third means this, which means that this answer is 1/5. Using my shortcut rules that we learned yesterday, we could say that another way of expressing this is 5 to the negative 1. That is another reason why our negative exponents create that reciprocal. So here we have 6 to the negative 3, and I'm going to be comparing that with another problem in just a second. So this really means 1 over 6 to the third, and I'm done. It didn't ask me to multiply it out. If it did ask me to multiply it out, I would do 6 times 6 times 6. I think it's 218, but I'm not really feeling too motivated to multiply 36 times 6 on my own. Sometimes I get lucky. I was right. But it says express each answer with positive exponents. So this is what it was looking for. Okay. What gets confused with that is negative 6 to the 3. Notice here the negative is on the exponent. Here the negative is on the base. This is negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6, which is negative 216. Here the negative is on the power. Here the negative is on the base. Creates a big difference, but the two problems look very similar. This one right here, okay, this says 6 to the first and x to the negative 3. These are two separate parts to this. So the 6 is going to stay on the top, but anything that is negative changes levels. It's a magic fraction bar. Whenever you push it up or push it down through the fraction bar, it magically changes to the opposite power. Okay, it creates a reciprocal, a negative exponent does, and a reciprocal of something on the bottom goes to the top. So looking at this, before I start the problem, I'm going to reciprocal anything that's negative. 24 has a positive power. X to the 7th has a negative power. Y to the first has a positive power. So I've moved, moved, and moved. Or actually, I've not moved, moved, and not moved. The 36 stays on the top, stays on the bottom. The x to the second stays on the bottom, but the y to the third needs to reciprocal. Okay? So now I'm going to prime this out. There are other ways to do it, but when in doubt, write it out. 24 is 2 times 12. I think that's 24. 1y. 36 is 2, 2, 3, 3. X, 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 oh, 7 x's. And then 2 more. Okay, none of my letters cancel out. There was all the y's ended up on the top, all the x's went on the bottom. But if I did have ones that were on the top and the bottom, I would cross them off. So my answer in simplified form is 2 y to the fourth, 3 x to the ninth. Seems easy when I do them, but it's not. We'll practice them.